rock and roll bands playing in the bars, and there's open air jacuzzis, and it's full of men of wealth and power.
Just men, only men. Okay.
Yeah, only men. And then the second weird thing, there's a great deal of public urination. It's like a Bohemian Grove tradition that even though there's lots of public toilets everywhere, all these old men who all look like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons all just kind of whip it out and urinate in public.
Why do you, is that a tradition, or just nature calls more often when they're out in the redwoods, or what?
I think it's a tradition. I think the whole milieu of the place is we are powerful, important people, but for 2 weeks we can just let loose and be ourselves, be with nature, and do what we want to do. We can burn dull care. Now, the reason why I've just said burn dull care is the third notable thing about Bohemian Grove is that they have a ceremony on the Saturday night, the first Saturday night of the summer each year. And the ceremony is this kind of weird pageant where they take a papier-mâché effigy that's supposed to represent all their cares in the world, and they throw it into a bonfire in front of a giant stone owl.
That sounds like some kind of a druid ceremony.
Well, I mean, conspiracy theorists think what they're doing is, I mean, Alex Jones, for instance, this conspiracy theorist who I snuck into the camp with, who is now close to Donald Trump all these years later. Alex thought that the owl represented Moloch, the owl god, and it was basically a human sacrifice to satiate the globalists' owl god. I think it wasn't quite as sinister as that.
Is it called the cremation of the care?
Care, yeah.
Cremation of care. So cremation of care of what? Care of what? The world?
No, I think that's right. I mean, again, the conspiracy theorists will say, you know, yes, we are cremating responsibilities. We have all this power, but we don't care about these people. What it actually is that the voice of care says, fools, when will you learn that me ye cannot slay? And then the high priest said, yes, it's true that when this our sylvan holiday shall end, we shall turn back to the marketplace, and you may destroy some of us. But here in this happy grove, our fellowship stands thee for this space, and so shall we burn you once again, and then they goes into the fire. So I think what it represented their daily concern, right, their daily work stress.
But John, you're saying there's a high priest?
Oh yeah, there's a high priest who looks like a kind of posh clansman wearing, I've got to say, sneaking into the Bohemian Grove was one of the great nights of my life. The high priest is kind of dressed like a posh clansman. It's a big ornate ceremony that they have with a symphony orchestra playing kind of Boston pop type music with this kind of ridiculous kind of midsummer ritual.
And so everyone then stumbles off into the bushes and has a pee.
Yeah, basically, except for Alex Jones, who is convinced he's just witnessed an actual human.
Okay, well, now, so you were a bit more level-headed about all of this, but these are rich and powerful men. Others, like Bill Clinton, who I guess who's never been invited, he described a Bohemian Grove. He said that's where rich Republicans go up and stand naked against redwood trees. So is clothing optional at this event?
Well, I didn't see anybody naked, but what I did see was a notice board with photographs from a party that they had clearly had the night before, and all these rich old Republicans were all dressed in drag. But it was like, you know, it was like this misogynistic drag. So it was like these kind of, you know, you can imagine sort of makeup smeared on, and these kind of ridiculous oversized fake breasts and nylon stockings and so on. So I think there's a kind of misogyny that offers a little bit of grace.
Can you picture this conversation going on between Colin Powell and Stephen Harper?
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, because I think the purpose of a lot of these kind of secret conservative societies like the Grove and Bilderberg and so on are to maintain a status quo. Bilderberg is, which is like a similar type of capitalism, slightly more sensuous than without the rituals, is all about globalism. It's a kind of pro-global place. So they would see Donald Trump, this kind of disaster.
You mentioned that pianos are around in various rooms, and we know that our former Prime Minister can play piano, and he likes to do old songs. He loves Beatles songs. Is it possible that people who attend, like Stephen Harper, might have sat down at the piano and entertained people with a few numbers?
Oh, no question. And in fact, I heard, I don't remember how I heard this, but I heard that one year the voice of Dole Care going, when we cannot slay, was played by Henry Kissinger. So yeah, the Bohemians get involved in the revelry.
John, it's quite a picture you paint. I appreciate speaking with you. Thanks.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
John Ronson is an author from UK, a journalist as well. We reached him in Los Angeles. His next piece is due out soon. It is about the conspiracy theorist that he mentioned in there, Alex Jones, and his relationship with Donald Trump.
Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper serenading Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu back in 2014.
A little touch of the Grove there, I think.
Well, you can find more on our story of Bohemian Grove and some photographs. Although we have no idea what they're about. They may be some misogynistic drag in there. We don't know. But you can find those at cbc.ca/as-it-happens. And please send us your reaction to all that.
We'd love to hear what you think about Bohemian Grove. We're going to take a short break now, but we're going to be back in just a few minutes with so much more. I'm Jeff Douglas.
And I'm Carol Long.
You're listening to CBC Radio 1, 88.9 FM in Kelowna.
I'm Ali Ramadan in for Chris Walker. Coming up Friday on Daybreak, terrorism and tourism. We'll hear why we shouldn't be shy about heavy security, and avoiding a Big Bang and Armstrong or military display at the museum could have gone boom. And Summerland City Council wants to help the school board save money. We'll hear how. It's all coming up Friday on Daybreak. Get started at 5:30 Pacific time, right here on CBC Radio 1.
As It Happens is back after the news. Then it's the current review.
Hello, I'm Anna Marie Tremonti. The promised age of the airship died with the fiery Hindenburg disaster in 1937. Today, advocates see a revival of the technology as an economical way of supplying the North and reducing poverty. That story coming up.
This is CBC News from Vancouver. Good evening, I'm Robert Zimmerman. Crown and defense are both calling for an 18-year prison term for the man who admitted shooting his boss 2 years ago in a busy Yaletown coffee shop. Gerald Battersby pleaded guilty today to 5 counts, including 3 of attempted murder. Farmer Ali has one.
Sitting just across from the man who tried to kill him, Paul Dragin slowly detailed the pain he endures 2 years after being shot. He described how he lost a portion of his right lung and still suffers from chronic pain because of bone and bullet fragments from the shooting. He called Gerald Battersby a deranged man, and the person he and his family are still fearful of. Those words were part of a victim impact statement he read to the court at Battersby's sentencing hearing. The 63-year-old pleaded guilty to 3 counts of attempted murder today, related to the shooting. It happened in 2014 in broad daylight at a Starbucks in Vancouver's Yaletown neighborhood. Today, several videos were shown to the court, including one that appears to show Battersby engaging in gunfire with police officers as they chase him down the seawall. Now, both the Crown and Battersby's lawyer are making a joint submission to the judge for a sentence of 18 years in prison. But with credit for time already served, that means Battersby will serve about 14 and a half years in prison. The sentencing hearing will continue tomorrow. For Morale, CBC News, Vancouver.
The provincial government has committed $500 million to address housing affordability. The province made the announcement today as part of its budget update, but it didn't say how the money will be spent. Richard Zussman has more.
British Columbia has once again shattered its own record when it comes to property transfer tax revenues. The province announcing today it brought in nearly $1 billion more than expected in property transfer taxes in the first quarter of the 2016-17 fiscal year. $500 million of that money will now be used to address affordability, and it's money the province says is budgeted for the long term. Finance Minister Mike DeYoung.
There is a line here that speaks to our expectation that will not be a one-time or one-year initiative.
The NDP says they have no idea how the government will dole out the cash, but are suggesting the province focuses on renters. Finance critic Carol James.
You know, when you now have people who are overbidding for rental, not simply just for buying property, but actually for rental, that's how far it's gone in this province.
As for specifics on funding, DeYoung says the province will announce that next week. Richard Zussman, CBC News, Victoria.
4 parcels of private land have been preserved in the heart of BC's Great Bear Rainforest. Del Puri reports.
The conservation of land, key to a variety of mammals and marine life, was made possible by a donation from West Vancouver businessman Tony Allard. His family owns 3 of the 4 plots that now belong to the Nature Conservancy of Canada. The 4th piece was bought from a collection of owners. All of this newly preserved land protects an ancient rainforest of western cedar and Sitka spruce. The forest is also home to grizzly bears, black bears, coyote bears, and rare wildlife considered endangered like the marbled murrelet. As well, some of the waterfront property includes estuaries necessary for salmon fry, eagles, and sea lions. The Great Bear Rainforest runs more than 6 million hectares along the BC's north and central coast.